What is going on, everybody? It's the Fox, and we're here for Unscripted episode number 101 for your Sunday, January 5th, 2019. We're in the new year. Happy New Year to you. Hope you guys had yourself a wonderful holiday. It is time to talk about everything from Raw. It happened, like things from Raw, SmackDown, and AEW this week because NXT got an episode to talk about. But we'll talk about that stuff, and then we'll get into some news that is not surprising, but also disturbing at the same time. Raw had three big things that I can think of that were really worth talking about, and one would be Samoa Joe joining the fight with KO in his battle against Rollins and AOP, Randy Orton faking a knee injury from the night before to get to AJ Styles, and the worst segment of all time, if not the second. If this is not the first and the worst thing of all time, that still, of course, probably belongs to Katie Vick and what Triple H did to a mannequin. But this has to be right up there. This wedding was awful. And the sad part is, and we'll talk about it in a bit, Vince McMahon loved it. We'll talk about that in a second. As we all know, for months, well, since before the draft, Samoa Joe has been out with an injury. Thumb injury, hand injury, whatever. He's been out. He's been on backstage as a correspondent. He's been doing commentary with JR and Vic Joseph. But he was always going to be, when he gets cleared, he was always going to be back to the active roster. It was reported a couple months ago that he's being praised with his job on commentary. But he is not going to be the guy to replace Dio Madden. Of course, Dio Madden wanted to go back to being a wrestler. He wanted to become the next WWE superstar. But he was the WWE. He got beat up by Brock Lesnar, and I knew, not immediately, because I figured, it's just going to be a 1 or 2 week write-off. It's just how WWE plays their game with Brock Lesnar. You take a beating, and then you're back in a couple weeks. But weeks just kept on piling up. We haven't seen Dio every single week, and then boom, on backstage towards the end of the year last year, it was reported finally that Dio Madden has decided to go back to NXT to train to be a WWE superstar, and we just haven't had anybody. It was just it. So now commentary does suffer on Monday Night Raw because we have King over there trying to make his crude, dumb, old, outdated jokes, and Vic Joseph just trying to do his best, but he's got to be stuck traveling with somebody who is just out of date, out of touch, and does not need to be there. It's just facts how they do that. Well, of course, yes, we lose Joe to the injury, but it's all back from commentary. But it's great to see him back. It is. Seeing him back as a babyface is interesting because I don't think Samoa Joe has been an actual clean cut babyface since his debut in NXT up until right after the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, where he turned on Finn Balor because he figured winning the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic would have earned him a title shot, but Regal was like, no, you don't earn one. But no, so it's great to see Samoa Joe back, and hopefully they'll find somebody to replace King on commentary. Yes, it was supposed to be a temporary thing. Eventually, it was supposed to be just Vic Joseph and Dio Madden, but then Dio decided, well, no, I got taken out by Brock Lesnar. I'm not the best at commentary yet. I still have ways to go, but since I have this time, I might as well go back and try and become a wrestler. So that is what happened there. In my opinion, I would be fine with them getting somebody else, anybody else, because Vic Joseph is good. It's just I can't. It's just King makes commentary so bad. His jokes are terrible. He can't decide if he's a heel or a babyface. 1 week he's rooting for the heels. The next week he's like, they're going too far. We have to stop them. What the hell's going on here? And it's just so dumb. He's been off commentary. I think it's time for him to stay off commentary. King is just past his prime and is not needed. Speaking of things that just this next thing is just Randy Orton faking his injury to get to AJ Styles was weird. So sitting there on Sunday afternoon on Twitter it's Monday morning, actually not Sunday afternoon, but Monday morning, and Randy Orton injured the night before, saying Randy Orton was injured. Oh my God, Randy Orton's injured. There's so many people doing videos. Randy Orton's injured. He might be out for months. Then there was a story that started making the loops that this was all at work. Okay. Then we get to Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton comes out in his hoodie, a pair of shorts, I think it was jean shorts, whatever, and a knee brace on with crutches. Takes this thing all the way to the back, all the way to the ring with the crutches. Has somebody help him into the ring. Plan Stinger was that he might have to retire. I mean, the segment itself was fun. I guess they made AJ Styles look more like a buffoon. Because you had him come out, challenge Randy Orton, actually believe Randy Orton. And in the end, Randy Orton shows off that his knee is not hurt by hitting him with an RKO and then stomping his knee into his foot into the ground over and over. So Randy Orton took a injury that was a work and actually played it up completely. I have to give him a props for dedication, but just could have thought of something else. And how can anybody forget the final segment? In 2010, January 4th, 2010, was not the first show on WWE's to be in 2010s. The 2010s decades, that of course was Friday Night SmackDown. Because yes, SmackDown started on a Friday. Started on Fridays at the beginning of the 2010s, the last decade. Went to, I believe, Thursday when it went to USA Network, over to Tuesday, back to Friday, within a 10-year span. But Monday Night Raw. When Monday Night Raw kicked off the decade in 2010, the very first thing that you saw was Bret the Hitman Hart make his way to the ring. Make his way to the ring, be in the WWE for the first time in 12 years. 12 years. Then, of course, you had in that same segment, Shawn Michaels come out after Bret Hart called him out, and they shake hands. Later on in that show, Bret Hart was low blowed by Vince McMahon, which was setting up for their match at WrestleMania. But that was the decade. That's the way WWE Raw started off this decade. To end this decade with this segment, absolutely just a bad sign that the 2020s, because 2010s was not a bad decade when it started out. So you had 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15, I think, is when it started to go downhill a little bit, when they started pushing Roman Reigns. 16 came, 17 came, 18 came, 19 came, and they just keep falling further and further and further downhill. Every year seems to be the worst creative year every single year. And it just keeps falling. And then we got to at this past Monday, the final Monday Night Raw of the year and the decade. And Vince McMahon books a wedding. Because apparently Vince McMahon is a fan of weddings. I don't give a shit if you're a fan of weddings. Doesn't mean I want to see you book a wedding on your fucking wrestling show to try to humiliate somebody or try to make somebody look like they're the best thing out there. Give me a fucking break. This was atrocious. You had indie talent coming out pretending to be former wives or wives and husbands of these two. Lana's acting like she's the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread. Give me a fucking break. Nobody fucking cares about Lana, yet she's like, oh, everyone loves talking about me. Everyone loves me. Oh my God, nobody fucking loves you. You can't fucking mess. So apparently she's supposed to be coming back to getting back in the ring this year, which Hell no to everyone will be saying. She can't fucking wrestle, can't fucking talk since she broke up with her husband the first time. Can't fucking do anything. Her acting's terrible. This shit is awful. Then you have people say, oh, well, look at the YouTube numbers. The YouTube numbers are huge. Who gives a fuck about YouTube numbers in this sense? YouTube numbers have not correlated to the ratings. Oh, well, it was the highest rated series this past Monday. Guess what ended last week? This past Sunday. Not today. What happened a week ago? What was the very last thing? What was the end of another season last Sunday? Oh, that's right. The NFL football season. People are like, oh, it's the highest ratings they got since September. What's up since September? The NFL football season. This segment on any other Raw the past 16 weeks, and I guarantee you this is one of the lowest rated Raws there is because nobody wants to see this. There happened to be no major football games on. If the Rose Bowl would have been on Monday, which it wasn't, it was on Wednesday, it would have had a bigger draw than this fucking segment. This segment was absolutely trash. And another thing, YouTube numbers, maybe 10, 15 people enjoyed this shit more than anyone else and watched it over and over and over again because they think it's good television. You can't take YouTube numbers and say, look at this, how successful this is. It was just so bad. And then you find out, and we'll talk about it in a bit, Vince McMahon loves this shit. He wants to do more of this. I see nothing but bad things coming for WWE. And honestly, I hope the fuck bad things come true. The board of directors say that this is not working. And then they finally go, Vince McMahon, you're voted out, we'll put somebody else in charge. And the only thing that's negative about them putting somebody else in charge is that they get to choose. That person might just be Joe Schmo off the side of the street. Raw ended on the decade on a very, very, very bad low. I just can't wait to see how bad of a low it goes to start off the 2020s. Moving over to AEW, we're gonna talk about Riho in her championship reign and how awful it has been. Jon Moxley dominating another opponent, and Chris Jericho looking for his answer to him joining the Inner Circle, and the Elite getting back into the Winner Circles. Hangman also teasing a heel turn as we move on. First off, Riho. God, this woman. I'm sorry. If you like Riho, more power to you. This woman's title reign is awful. This woman is unbelievable. We had a fatal four-way between her, Sheeta, who carried that match, Nyla Rose, and Britt Baker. Problem number one with this match should have never happened. Where was Chris Statlander? Oh, she was off doing a bar wrestling event. So what did AEW do? Instead of running some kind of storyline where Chris Statlander's eye got injured from the shoe attack that she received from Brandy Rose the week before, they decided, we're just going to say, hey, now she's off doing another event, and just keep it as that. But, so, they decided, well, we can't have this match until the next week, which is going to be happening this Wednesday, hopefully. Let's have a fatal four-way between the second, third, and fourth contender versus the world champion. Okay, so another problem I have. Nyla Rose was suspended about 4 weeks ago. They had women in matches over the last 4 weeks. Why was she number 4 still? Can someone explain that one to me? Why was she number 1 contender? Why was she in a world title match weeks after being suspended, and her very first match back is a title match? Give me a fucking break. Number 3, the ending to that match was absolutely fucking awful. Just awful. You're having these women go out there, beat the hell out of each other, and we're going to have Riho win with a surprise roll-up again? I swear, it's surprise roll-up and running knees is her only big moves that because Riho has no devastating moves. She has no impact when she attacks. She is not believable as a champion. She is not believable as a competitor. It's like you're sending a 9-year-old out there, and yes, Kenny Omega's faced 9-year-olds in DDT Pro, but I'm not saying that's a good thing. Riho should not have been champion. After watching this match, and the effort that Shida put in, and the fact that Shida carried the fucking match, you look at this thing, you look at this company, put your head down, and you shake it, because Riho should not have been the first champion. Hikaru Shida should have been first champion. He's been around a little bit more. Why would you put somebody in charge of you? Why would you put somebody as your top champion if they're just going to be there every once in a while? I swear, since full gear, and we've seen Riho maybe one or two other times in about a month and a half. Not right. I would have given it to Shida. We have seen Shida on TV more than the champion. Britt Baker, of course, interrupts Riho's interview backstage, telling her, "Hey, you don't deserve to be champion. You're not here all the time. You're hardly ever here," which is absolutely true. Riho is there maybe once in a blue moon. You're the world champion for the women's division, and you're not there. Why should we want to see you as champion? We don't. We shouldn't. Nobody should want to see Riho as a champion because she's not championship material. She's absolutely one of the worst champions in the company. In the company, she is the worst champion. And of all the women's champions that I know of, from Tyra Valkyrie, Rhea Ripley, Kay Ray, Becky Lynch, and Bayley, I would take all of those women as those champions over Riho. Riho is absolutely the worst champion that I have seen, for the women at least, in a very long time. She just cannot be champion. And Kris Statlander, here's the thing. Kris Statlander has a chance to become the second ever women's champion in AEW history. Yes, I know you don't want to have these champions win these titles and then lose them a month or two later. That's kind of stupid. It would make no sense to do that, and it would diminish your championships. But if Kris Statlander does not beat Riho, I give up on this women's division. This women's division has absolutely zero hope. It's all Kenny Omega's. It's Kenny Omega's plaything. He can go there and play with these little toys that he has and not give a damn about anybody. This shit has got to stop. Kenny Omega's got his little playthings, little play toys, and he doesn't. It's just sad. It is absolutely sad that you're going with this, because this is just, it's so bad. So goddamn bad. Moxley has a match with Trent. I guess it's Beretta. It's Trent with a question mark by his name. I don't know what the question mark's for. Maybe he's trying to think of something other than Trent Beretta. Of course, he decided to just stop being called Trent, or they stopped having to be called Trent Beretta and just want him to be Trent. I don't know why, but that's what they went with. But of course, it's a win for Jon Moxley. After the match, of course, the snide and sniveling Sammy Guevara comes out, wanting to, give the final pitch of recruiting for one Jon Moxley. When Chris Jericho makes his presence known, and Chris Jericho brings out and talks about what they can do, he offers Jon Moxley 49% of the Inner Circles LLC, which I guess is the company. He also offers him this nice, brand new looking car. I don't know what the make and model is. Had its own custom license plate with Mox on the license plate, which I don't think you're only allowed to have 3 letters. Even if you have a custom license plate, I could be totally fucking wrong. I just think that's a little weird. I think you can't do that. I don't know. And then he have him. He wants his answer, and he says you can do all this if you say yes. Which, of course, as we know, he's only doing this because and he only started doing this when Jon Moxley became the #1 contender for his AEW championship. And he doesn't want to face Jon Moxley because he knows if he does that, Jon Moxley will kick his ass. Jon Moxley will take that world title from him, beat him up, take his name, and not think twice about it. So what is Jericho trying to do? He's just trying to recruit Jon Moxley to join him so he won't. Now, I would not be surprised if Jon Moxley joined the Inner Circle for now. What do you say? Oh, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Jon Moxley would never do that. Hear me out. I think Jon Moxley would join the Inner Circle to destroy them from the inside out. Think about it. He goes out there, he takes sacks, he takes names every day. He's working for himself and himself only. He just won the United States title at the first night of Wrestle Kingdom, which is going on probably right now as I record this at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll be watching that later. But that Texas Death match was crazy. But we're going to have Jon Moxley taking that title from Chris Jericho. I would not surprise me because we have about a month and a half away. A month and a month and 3 weeks or so away from Revolution. So they have time that he can be a part of this, but beat them down from the inside out. I could be wrong. Maybe he turns them down and has to take them out the other way by beating them down from not the inside, but just from the outside. So Jon Moxley says that he considers Chris Jericho a friend and a mentor, and for that he will make his decision, and he will have his decision in person next week. Jericho was supposed to apparently be live on this episode of TV, but because of his match in Japan, which of course should be going on very, very soon if it hasn't already, Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho did not show up live. It was on tape delay. It's kind of funny how Jon Moxley, who also was on the first night of Wrestle Kingdom, will also be on the second night, was on TV. So just kind of interesting there. So we'll find out next week what happens with Moxley, and that'll probably be in the top things of next week. Then we had the Elite. The beginning of the show, the opening video, cold open, was the Elite and what they have done on the way to this episode, and just questioning themselves. We were supposed to be the winners. We were supposed to be the best. We were supposed to be the ones out there setting an example for others, but we haven't done that. Is this winning? Are we elite? That was what this whole show built towards. Of course, we had the first match being Darby Allin versus Cody, with Cody having Arn in his corner. Good match for that one. Did not like the way the ending was. It was kind of lame. Oh, Arn gets up on the apron, taps his knee, like, oh, get your knees up, because Cody couldn't get his knees up. By watching Darby come down, he had to see Arn Anderson tapping his knee to get his knees up. I think that was fucking lame. And then, of course, Cody rolls the guy up for a 1, 2, 3 with this. It just looked lame. Just looked lame. Of course, we had Dustin lose to Sammy Guevara in a match that he's of course not part of the Elite, but he's like an affiliate of the Elite. And then of course you had Pac and the Lucha Bros lose to the Elite, with Kenny Omega looking like he did last year before he joined AEW, the guy who actually could go out there and give you a hell of a match. He actually went out there and looked like he wanted to win. Maybe him having a week off was the way to go. I don't know. But the Elites go out there and they get a win in just dominating fashion. It looked like they dominated the match. And not much else you can say about it. That's just how they go. The Elite. I know why they didn't want to go out there and win every match, be the most dominant force in AEW, which quite honestly, if they wanted to, I wouldn't have been surprised. But I could see why you wanted to get Pride and Powerful over, Private Party over, Pac over, and all these other ones over. Because you didn't want to make all Elite Wrestling just be about the Elite. They didn't want the Elite in AEW to stand out more than anything else. But I honestly think the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega lost too much. Yes, you're supposed to be the Elite. You should not be losing all the time. Yes, you put over the Proud and Powerful Bucks. You put over Pac, Kenny Omega. But it just felt like when they went to TV, they went from it's like AEW still had that buzz about them from January all the way to October. When they went to TV, that buzz cooled off so fast. So fast. It was not even funny. Then we had them just go to TV, and it just felt like AEW went from being special and a huge hit to just there. It just felt like it was there. It wasn't as big of a deal as it was coming into this year. To last year. Coming into May, coming into June, coming into July, coming into August, coming into October. Honestly, if AEW would have been would have decided to go a New Japan type route where we only get special events, maybe even tours, it would have felt, I think, a little bit different. But since they're doing it on a constant every single week, it just doesn't feel like it would. And I think it has to do a lot with them. They spent all of last year trying to get others over without really establishing anybody, hardly anybody else, truly establishing anybody. Yes, Darby Allin faced off against Chris Jericho once and Cody once last year, and he's a little bit elevated more than he was last year, when they started AEW. But is he an established main eventer? No. Jon Moxley established because he was established in WWE as Dean Ambrose. Chris Jericho established because he's Chris fucking Jericho. Cody established. The Bucks, Kenny Omega are established. Hangman's not. I don't think Hangman's established. He's not where Matt, Nick, and Kenny are and Cody are. But it's like you had when the AEW started. Your established stars were Matt, Nick, Kenny, Cody, Jericho. And when we got to May, Jon Moxley. That was about it. Yes, I know the Lucha Bros are big to a lot of people, but they weren't established to the mass audience. If you want to say the mass audience, then it would just be Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley. That's it. And Cody probably too. So that's like 3 people. You got to work and get a Pride and Powerful to where the casual fans go, oh, that's Santana and Ortiz. They're badass. We should watch them wrestle. Same thing with the Lucha Bros, which didn't take very long. I'd say by the time we got to TV, the most established that you had who were big enough to help carry the show were the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes. Pac also was there, so that's 5. Jericho, Moxley, and the Lucha Bros, which would be 9 people. Nobody, Jungle Boy, who the hell was he? Luchasaurus, who the hell was he? Private Party, who the hell are they? The Dark Order, who the fuck are the Dark Order? The Best Friends, who the fuck are the Best Friends? Orange Cassidy is the most over guy in the fucking company, and he doesn't even do that much. I still don't get Orange Cassidy, but that's me. So that is just where they were there, and we just keep going through that year, getting people to where fans know these people's name. AEW has done a lot good so far in 1 year. Jungle Boy, who the fuck was he at the beginning of this whole thing? Marco Stunt, who the fuck was he? Luchasaurus, MJF, so on and so forth. Pride and Powerful, Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, just continues down the line. All these names, you name somebody on the AEW roster that wasn't a Jon Moxley or Young Bucks or Kenny Omega, from the top layer, all of those people you should have known. Everyone else below them, tell me, don't sit there and say, oh, well, I knew who they were, unless, I guarantee you poll majority of the fans, you won't know who the fuck was an MJF before AEW started. Who the fuck was a Jungle Boy, a Marco Stunt, a Luchasaurus before AEW started? Who the fuck were the Dark Order? Who the hell were the Best Friends? There wasn't many. And there's a lot of these people you know by name just from AEW. But the Elite finally getting back to the winner's circle. Hopefully they're not going to spend all of 2019 trying to do 2020 doing the same thing. You have 52 episodes, or 51, 52, whatever. It's probably going to be 52 because Christmas is on a Friday this year. But you have at least 51 or 52 episodes to help establish these men and women. You have 52 episodes of Dark to help establish these men and women. You don't have to sacrifice the Elite because you're trying to get others over. It is time to start building yourselves up and getting this company so we know that, hey, a Jungle Boy is in the, not like he's the lower mid card or he's the higher mid card. You have a guy like QT Marshall who's going to be a jobber. You have a guy like Brandon Cutler who's probably joined the Dark Order and it hasn't been decided yet that he's the guy under that other purple mask. But he's going to be a perennial loser. The Beaver Boys, perennial losers. You can't just have people 50-50ing, not the WWE way, but say you have Hangman, he beats Pac, but he loses to he loses to somebody else, or he beats Brandon Cutler and he loses to Pac. It's like if somebody goes from 0-0 but then wins the first match, loses the next, or it's 50-50, no, who gives a shit? So the records have reset. Only people who have wins are the ones who won on Wednesday. We'll have people having wins added on Tuesday when we see the next episode of Dark, which I'm looking forward to because Austin and Billy Gunn take on, I believe it was the Best Friends or somebody. I can't remember who they go up against, but that should be interesting, and I can't wait to see what happens there. Like I said, NXT year-end review, we'll look at those awards later on as I agree or disagree with what the fans voted for. But SmackDown basically was this. Miz is turning heel, if he hasn't already become a full-fledged heel. Probably not. Miz is becoming a heel because The Fiend attacked his family, and he wants to get back at The Fiend. He is obsessed with The Fiend. He had a match with Kofi Kingston, lost that match, attacked Kofi after the match, and as he was leaving, fans were spooing and saying, "You suck." And he's like, "After everything that I did for you, I did everything. And you want everything, I've given you everything," as he's yelling at the fans off a microphone, which you hear because the camera's right there. And that rinky-dink microphone is picking it up. And he is just going off on the fans, so he is turning back to a heel, which I think is good because babyface Miz has been absolutely so goddamn bad. If you want The Miz to be at his full strength, you turn this motherfucker back to a heel. We spent all of 2019 as this motherfucker as a babyface. Let's start him off on the right foot on 2020 and get him back to being a heel, a despicable heel that nobody but his wife cares about. We had Sheamus make a return laying out Chad Gable, so it's great to see Sheamus back. I did mention on my review yesterday that the last time I remember Sheamus having a return like this was after he came back from his injury about 2015, I think, 15 or 16, when he had the mohawk and he had the braided beard, which looked absolutely stupid. And he kept that mohawk until he disappeared after WrestleMania last year. Makes return, Bro kicks the head off of Chad Gable, and unlike last time when he made his return and he Bro kicked the head off of, I believe, Neville, he got heavily booed then. This time, fans would love to see him back, and he kicked off the head of Chad Gable, and the fans cheered and cheered welcome back. Also tells you that the Shorty G gimmick, how's that going? Because if Sheamus kicked the head off of a guy with the name Chad Gable, one of the most over guys on SmackDown, that guy's getting booed. Nobody loves this fucking gimmick other than Vince McMahon. I would still love to get Chad Gable behind a closed door, where like a closed door that is soundproof, so nobody can hear him scream or yell, and nobody can hear him confess the fact that I guarantee you Chad Gable hates this gimmick. I guarantee you he hates this. Guy goes out there on a weekly basis, kicks ass, takes names, and fans don't care. Why? Because of that name. What's in a name? It's just his wrestling name. It's just his name. Who gives a shit? It's such good shit. Apparently the fans, because the week before Baron Corbin comes out and says, or like that night at that pay-per-view, I can't remember when it was, where Baron Corbin comes out and is like, "Oh, you're no longer Chad Gable, you're Shorty Gable." When Chad came out to that ring announcer, being announced Chad Gable, when he came out to that fan reaction, fans loved him. When that match started and that match was over, nobody gave a fuck anymore because they knew it was coming. he was going to be Shorty G and nobody was going to give a shit. And it's proven. Go back and listen to every match that he had after that first match in the King of the Ring and however this guy was. Then go look at every match he's had with the Shorty J Cable and the Shorty G moniker. And just listen to how dead the crowd is. The crowd loved him, and now the crowd doesn't care. And on top of that, he has a new catchphrase. Rise above size. That is pathetic. That is lame. And it's not going to get him over. But hey, he's doing what he can to get on TV. I can't blame the guy for it, but I just can't feel sorry for him either. You accept this gimmick, you don't deserve to be happy. You don't deserve to be pushed. Just saying. Then that wasn't the only return. John Morrison. Miz is in his locker room. Kathy Kelly knocks on the door. Door opens. It's John Morrison. Apparently, whatever the fuck, Miz and Morrison are back together. What the fuck was their tag team? Did they have a tag team name? No. Will we get a revival of the Dirt Sheet? I don't know. The Dirt Sheet, the guys like Xavier Woods, Zack Ryder, and anybody else who does pretty much any content creator out there, for the most part, on YouTube, I think owes the Dirt Sheet a lot. Because they were doing what they were doing viral video stuff. They were doing a show on the internet on .com, www.com, before YouTube became what it is today, with a guy like JD, like a Solid Monster, like a Brian Zane, like going in Raw with Steve and Larson, I think it is. Anybody else who does stuff, anybody. We owe the Dirt Sheet a big thing. A big thank you, because those guys were doing anything like a content creation before it became cool. But they did tease it on Backstage a couple weeks ago when Morrison was on there. Maybe we could possibly see these two back together. Looks like that might be the thing. But the fact that Morrison's big hyped return, was in a backstage segment to tell Kathy Kelly that Miz does not have anything else to say, I think was a little underwhelming. But hey, great to see him back. Let's see what happens with Morrison. What will they do? I was hoping he would go to NXT, but I guess, hey, beggars can't be choosers. Then the final return was the Usos. And there was a report. I was just looking through the reports trying to find some news for this week. And there was a report earlier in the week, probably on Sunday actually, that the Usos were going to be making their return to Raw soon. Apparently that rumor was false because they're coming to SmackDown. So, the Fiend attacks Daniel Bryan during a tag team match between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns versus the King and his bitch. And that would be, of course, yours truly, Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. So he's out. So we got the handcuffs coming out. We had the dog food coming out. This match had no contest written all over it because Jessica Carr did not ring the bell when the Fiend attacked Daniel Bryan. So the Usos come down. They waste these two bombs. And they save their cousin from a beatdown as he was going to get. So it looks like the Fiend, not the Fiend, but we have ourselves what looks like the bloodline, or whatever the fuck they call themselves, back together once again. Great to see Jimmy and Jay back. Can't wait to see what they do. They are one of, if not the best tag team in all of WWE. The Revival, before we get into the news, because I didn't have this down, apparently WWE feels more confident that the Revival are going to re-sign now than ever. I hope that is false confidence, because if the Revival re-sign with WWE, I lose all respect for these two. So yeah, let's have a creative stifled. Let's be turned into clowns. Apparently all they wanted to do was become clowns, because that's all WWE is doing, is making them clowns. Hopefully we will not see that re-signing happen, and hopefully we'll be seeing, because a couple weeks ago, last week, they posted a picture with them standing beside Private Party. I think that would be a hell of a match. Please get these guys out of WWE. If they re-sign with WWE for 5 years or so, then that is That's bullshit, and I think they need to, like, I don't want to hear them saying we want to be the best tag team in wrestling. We want to show everybody that we can be the fucking best. Because if they sign with WWE, they're not going to be able to do that. They have nothing they can do in WWE to prove that they are the best tag team out there. They need to go to Japan, AEW, NWA, Ring of Honor. I don't care, but them staying in WWE would be the worst thing for them. And that was it for Raw, AEW, and SmackDown this week. We'll have NXT thrown back in there next week. Let's get into our ratings before we get to everything else. Raw's ratings. The final show of the decade, featuring the wedding of Ron and Bobby Lashley in the main event segment, drew an average of 2.493 million viewers on the USA Network, according to Showbiz Daily. This is up from the 1.853 million viewers from the taped episode of Christmas Week, which was the lowest Raw viewership in show history, as it's going to be every single year from here on out. This week's show in the first hour drew a 2.525 million viewers. The second hour drew a 2.464 million viewers. And the third and final hour drew 2.328 million viewers, which, by the way, was when the segment happened. So I don't want to hear anybody say anything about the ratings being because of the wedding. Fuck that. This would only be the smallest. This would be one of the smallest third-hour drops for Raw, indicating that the fans actually tuned in for the heavily hyped wedding. That doesn't prove shit. Which was crashed by Rusev and the returning Liv Morgan. By the way, the 2.328 million viewership is also skewed because they did have an overrun. Raw was 7th of the night in viewership on cable, behind the Orange Bowl on ESPN. The two other bowls airing. The two other airings of bowl coverage on ESPN, Tucker Carlson tonight, Hannity in the 5. The Orange Bowl between the Florida and Virginia topped the night in viewership with a demographic with 6.067 million viewers and a 1.5 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. Who really cares about the Orange Bowl? Okay, here's the thing. College football. The biggest games of the year are the two semifinals matches, which are always going to happen on a Wednesday. On a Saturday, or or if it's the Rose Bowl, it's going to happen on the 1st. And the Rose Bowl and the National Championship. Nobody gives a shit about the Orange Bowl outside of your fans for those two teams. Like the ratings for AEW were where they were. They would have been a little bit higher if it wasn't going up against the Georgia Bulldogs and whoever they played for in the Rose Bowl. Now look at this. This is some things. Raw drew a total of 125.746 million viewers for 2019, averaging a 2.418 million viewers per episode on the USA Network. Since 2017, here are the last 3 years on average. Raw in 2017 did 156.971 million viewers over 52 episodes. 2017 averaged a 3.18 million viewers per episode. 2018, 149.628 million viewers over, I don't know why they typed in 53, but it's 52 episodes. And they averaged a 2.823 million viewers. Then last year, this past year, Monday Night Raw averaged 125.746 million viewers over 52 episodes, for averaging a 2.480. So, over the last 4 years, over the last 2 years, Monday Night Raw lost an average of 600 million viewers. 600 million viewers over the last 4 years on an average. The overall total has also dropped to, the overall dropped 31,000, 31.2 something million viewers. They've lost a lot of viewers over the last 2 years. I expect 2020 to be just as bad. And don't get me this, oh well, the wedding was the only reason people tuned in. There was no competition. Yes, the Rose Bowl happened. I mean, not the Rose Bowl, but the Orange Bowl happened. Nobody watches the Orange Bowl. I guarantee you when that national championship happens between Clemson and LSU, we're not getting into a rant and why Clemson shouldn't be there. They're a bunch of cheaters, but we're not going there. That show is going to be happening on Monday, January 13th. Why is it January 13th and not this Monday? I don't know. I don't fucking get that. It should be this coming Monday, but whatever. That's going to be probably the lowest rating of the year until we get to NFL season for Monday Night Raw. AEW didn't pretty much had a win. This was a win by default because NXT was a taped year-end award show, which should have been last week's episode. They should have been live this week. They will be live next week. But Wednesday's homecoming edition of TNT's show drew a 967 million viewers, while the special edition of NXT drew 548 million viewers. 548,000 viewers on the USA Network. There was no AEW episode last week due to Christmas holiday, but NXT ranked 29 in cable over top 150 and 33 for the night in the viewership on cable. The AEW episode before Christmas ranked 30th and 143. This week's NXT episode was a year in review edition with no matches. No new matches. They did show matches from the year, from takeovers to rivalries to everything else. The Rose Bowl so this just tells you how much people love the Rose Bowl and how big the Rose Bowl is. If you're in the Big Ten and I believe the Pac-12, if you're not playing in the national championship, you want to be playing in the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl on ESPN topped the night at demographic 15.698 million viewers. But there was also, I believe, the Sugar Bowl was on this time as well, which was when the match, 15.698 million viewers. Guess what? That happened at 5 p.m. There was another bowl game that went on at that time, like right after. That went from the Rose Bowl to, I believe, the Sugar Bowl, which is what Georgia was playing in. 15.698 million viewers. WWE wishes they could get half of that, but they haven't had half of that since the 90s or early 2000s. The totals for AEW and NXT based off the Wednesday Night Wars that began on October 2nd, which is not a really big thing to deal with. NXT averaged 785,307 viewers with 10.90 million viewers over 13 episodes, while AEW averaged 10.840 million viewers over 12 episodes, 903,333 viewers per episode. So neither one got to the million mark, but AEW, of course, was meeting the most. Now, since we're out of Survivor Series and since we're out of all that stuff with WWE's versus AEW shtick, what is going to be happening next week to have AEW lose or NXT trying to beat AEW? Next year's averages will be a lot higher than they are this time. Hopefully, with the fact that the only thing sports-wise going on, because the bowl games will be over, I believe. There's one more bowl game outside of the national championship this coming Monday. It's the Raging Cajuns versus Miami of Ohio, I'm pretty sure. And then nothing else going on. So the only thing that's going on sports-wise is college and professional basketball. And hockey as well, which hockey is not as big of a sport as everything else in the United States. Well, Raw, SmackDown, and AEW and NXT have huge ratings boost coming out of the new year. We'll have to wait and see. But SmackDown's viewership was down slightly, and this is the prelims from the week before. Last week's episode drew 2.467 million viewers, while this week's episode drew 2.418 million viewers. The first hour drew 2.4767, and the second hour dropped to 2.369. This, of course, is always just a thing. This is prelim. Prelim is always a higher number, it seems like, than the actual number, which we'll find out on Monday. SmackDown drew an average of 0.7 in the ratings for 18 to 49, which is something that, the rating itself looks like a good number for SmackDown, but that's not the number that Fox is really worried about. Fox paid for 18 to 49 demo to be 1.0 or higher. averaging around that. So being at 0.7 is actually something Fox is looking at and probably not happy about. So the fact that they were beaten out with Y5O followed by Magnum PI in 2020, only tying with Ellen's Game of Games, is not a good thing for SmackDown. This is down 0.5% from last Monday's episode, which drew an average of 2.431 million viewers, with a 0.7 rating in the 18-49 demo. SmackDown was 8 on the night, yada yada yada. Their average for 2017, for some reason I couldn't find the average for 2019, but for 2017, they drew 2.546 million viewers with 132.401 million viewers. 18 they averaged and dropped from 2.546 to 2.352, dropping 10.90 to 93 million viewers from the year before, with 122.304. I'm off on that a little bit. So those are your ratings. Everything, well, Raw is up because it wasn't a Christmas episode. Who the hell watches the Christmas episode of Monday Night Raw? Nobody. Nobody has in a while. Backstage reaction to Monday for the Raw wedding. Vince McMahon was reportedly very happy with how everything played out with the wedding. That closed Monday's final show of 2019, according to a new report from Paul Davis of WrestlingNews.co. The storyline is reportedly planned to continue for several weeks, if not months. So yes, this thing has been going on since like October. We're continuing this shit on. We have to go through this till probably WrestleMania. The important note that Vince has wanted to do more crazy stories like this, but he has to balance things out and satisfies the people at USA Network and the sponsors. He got what he wanted this week, and the overrun did a nice number, so Vince is in a good mood. Which, the wedding was crashed by Rusev and Liv Morgan, who made his surprise WWE return in the segment. She did. There's no word yet on exactly what is planned for the storyline coming out of this week's wedding, but the same source reportedly noted that this could run until WrestleMania 36. I want these ratings to continue to fucking be down. Just drop this shit. This is crap. They have things mapped out for the next few weeks, and this could run until WrestleMania. Vince loves the story so much that he's open to more off-the-wall ideas. All I can tell you is there is some Jerry Springer stuff coming. You know what? If I wanted to watch Jerry Springer, which I don't even know if that's still on, I would watch fucking Jerry Springer, not Monday Night fucking Raw. Raw. There's also reported that Liv was not originally supposed to be in the Lana and Lashley storyline, but plans changed as Raw executive Paul Heyman wants to push her. So the decision was made to have her involved in the wedding program. WWE officials are reportedly thrilled with the YouTube numbers on the segment. Good for fucking you. YouTube doesn't fucking matter when it comes to ratings, you dumbasses. And are hoping to see a rating increase next week for the follow-up to the Angle and the official beginning of the Royal Rumble build. The NFL's Monday Night Football will also be out of the way until the fall. Guess what? People are not tuning in to see this fucking wedding shit. They are tuning in to see professional fucking wrestling. Get over yourself, Vince. This shit is garbage. According to Rusev, the new report from the rumor claims that the Bulgarian Brute will be getting a new love interest of his own, and that he would come out of the storyline looking good. Trust me. Oh, trust me. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody is coming out of this fucking storyline looking good. Nobody. Everyone looks like shit. This is how much Vince loved this match, this wedding. Chairman and Vince McMahon and CEO left the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut on Monday afternoon before Raw hit the air, but returned to the arena because he didn't want to miss the wedding of Lana and Bobby Lashley. So turn on the fucking TV. It was noted earlier in the day on PW Insider that while Triple H and Kevin Dunn missed Monday's show, Vince arrived backstage at the XL Center right before the show hit the air. Hall of Fame, that apparently was incorrect, as Lana revealed during the latest episode of his podcast, featuring Rusev as a special guest, that Vince left around 2 p.m. Eastern but returned around 5:30 p.m. Eastern because he didn't want to miss the ceremony. Lawler also revealed that the wedding was highly anticipated by people backstage. He talked about how Vince missing recent tapings due to important XFL meetings, as has been speculated. This thing was so good. I'm sorry. This was so awful. It was going to be so highly anticipated by everyone backstage Vince has some very important meetings. He doesn't do this often, but lately I think it's with the upcoming XFL about to start and all that sort of stuff. Vince has been torn in so many different directions, and he's missed several Raws and has missed several SmackDowns in the past few weeks. He actually left Hartford, Connecticut at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and everybody thought he was gone. Vince has his own office there, and he told everybody he had to leave at 2 o'clock, and he left. The limousine took him out and even went from the talent relations. I addressed in the talent relations office with Mark Carano and those guys, so we moved the talent relations office to Vince's office. So we moved all of our stuff over there into his bigger, nicer office where we had more room. We were all sitting there, and I didn't know about 5:30 or so. Somebody came in and said, "Hey, Vince is on his way back. He doesn't want to miss the wedding." Well, it continued. So he came all the way back. All of a sudden, we're back in the scrambling. We're grabbing all of our stuff and had to put it in his office back together so he wouldn't know that we stole his office. Well, maybe you shouldn't say anything. Rusev said he heard the same story and commented how Vince is a big fan of weddings. Yeah, I heard that too. I didn't know if it was a rumor or not, but it speaks volumes about him because he's a big fan of weddings. Again, there is no fucking reason that he should be putting a wedding on TV. So if he's a big fan of weddings, are we going to see another wedding this year? Are we going to see another wedding 6 months from now? Fuck this shit. Vince McMahon has got to go. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Somebody at WWE headquarters, somebody in the stockholders needs to look at what's going on in this company. Listen to the fucking fans and be like, wow, this wedding was terrible. This segment was terrible. We need to stop this. Vince McMahon has got to go. This was terrible. Absolute terrible. This week's WWE Raw Everyone was a one-time thing for the wedding of Bobby Lashley and Lana, according to Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer newsletter. WWE can apparently always negotiate another overrun with the USA Network officials for future angles, but this week's extra time does not mean it will be a regular thing moving forward. Raw has not needed an overrun since 2001. Just saying. The 10 minutes overrun was said to be up in viewers and did not lose the audience. This is interesting as there was often big drops for the Raw overruns on the USA Network. WWE officials reportedly expected the wedding to go on, especially with the various twists and turns, including the surprise appearances by returning Liv Morgan, Rusev, and the fake enhancement talents. The ratings for the overrun were said to be way up, and the creative were credited the Raw executive director Paul Heyman, but Vince McMahon had all the input. This was all a Vince McMahon thing. As noted before, Lana claimed the big rating success of the angle this week. She tweeted, "I hate to rub it in all of you haters and naysayers' faces, but my wedding was the highest part of the Monday Night Raw, going up 40% when the rest of the show, and the highest ratings of the year. Lana and Lashley wedding, hashtag Lana, hashtag moving the needle. Trust me, Lana, you're not moving the needle one fucking bit." Again, put this segment in September, October, November, December before this past Monday. Guarantee it doesn't get its ratings that it does. The wedding was only up, the entire show was only up because there was no Monday Night Football. Don't give me, it's because people are watching on YouTube. I don't see ratings correlating with YouTube whatsoever. There is no proof that ratings are correlating with what's going on YouTube. Anybody who says otherwise, you're a fucking liar. This was absolute garbage. I fully expect the ratings to be down next week. Of course, the ratings are going to be up coming out of the Christmas episode because we're building towards the Royal Rumble. It has nothing to do with this garbage. And this is going to last till WrestleMania. It just needs to get worse and worse and worse. They're not going to be up in the threes, and I hope the fuck they're not going to be, because this show doesn't deserve it. This was absolutely garbage. Of course, Lana took credit. But moving on here, I just can't talk about this stuff without throwing up. So we're going to move on here. CM Punk, out of nowhere this past week, a week, a day or so ago, posted the original card for WrestleMania. The sheet shows, and we got it right here if you can see it and read it. This sheet shows what the original card was going to be for WrestleMania. Punk did not work WrestleMania 30 as he left. As Triple H was to face Daniel Bryan in the second match of the night, with the winner going to face the first match of the night. with the winner going to face then World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton and Batista in a triple threat match. This was the big match where Bryan finally won the world title by submission. Punk issues with WWE started getting out early in 2014 when he would end up and legitimately walking out of the company at Raw, telling Triple H and Vince McMahon that he was going home. These issues between Punk and the company would continue until later that year, as he officially left the company, leading to the infamous Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana. Punk noted on his Instagram story that he had been doing some spring cleaning when he found the paper. He joked that he also found the bone chips that were removed from his elbow in 2010 by Dr. Andrews. The lineup also shows that Bryan was originally scheduled to face Sheamus, and that Roman was scheduled to face Dean Ambrose for the United States title, and Kane was officially supposed to face the Big Show, but that match didn't happen as the Shield faced Kane and the WWE Hall of Famers, New Age Outlaws, in the six-man action. Big Show participated in the inaugural Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and was lastly eliminated by Cesaro in that show. Punk did a Comic-Con Q&A back in August 2013 to talk about who his ideal WrestleMania 30 opponent would be. And this was the card that we were supposed to get, if you can see it right there. Batista versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight title. Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun. Triple H versus CM Punk. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. Check, that happened. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Check, that happened. Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, Big Show versus Kane, and Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose for the United States title. Seth Rollins, nowhere on the card. Just imagine that. Seth Rollins, that guy who is a focal point of WWE now, wasn't supposed to be on WrestleMania 30. The final card that we did get, Usos retaining the WWE Tag Team titles over Los Matadores, the Real Americans, and Ryback in a fatal four-way elimination match on pre-show. Daniel Bryan defeated Triple H in the advance into the main event. The Shield defeated Kane and the New Age Outlaws in about 2.5 minutes. Cesaro eliminated Big Show to win the inaugural Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Undertaker defeated Bray Wyatt. Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker. And AJ Lee retained the WWE Divas title over Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, Emma, Cameron, Oksana, Alicia Fox, Tamina Snuka, Eva Marie, Layla, Naomi, Natalya, Summer Rae, and Rosa Mendes in the Vicky Guerrero Invitational. Daniel Bryan defeated Randy Orton and Batista in a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I think we had a better card after CM Punk walked out. Could you imagine the boy show this would have been? CM Punk versus Triple H, Batista versus Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus, Kane versus Big Show, and Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose. To anybody, and I mean anybody, who thought, or actually still sticks to their guns, which people are going to still, it was always a mega work. It was always supposed to be Daniel Bryan in the main event. Give me a fucking break. This is just even more proof. And this, apparently, according to the date right there, at the top I believe it is also proof that they had this going into Royal Rumble. This was going to be the plan still going into the Royal Rumble. Yeah, internal card as of 1/20/2014, as it says. The Royal Rumble, this was just so bad. This was the plan. If any, it just shows how incompetent and inept this is. I think 2014 is where WWE started to go on that downward term to where we are now. And creative just continued to get worse and worse and worse. And boom, there you go. 2014 was supposed to be WrestleMania, Batista versus Randy Orton, Triple H versus CM Punk, Undertaker versus Lesnar, Cena versus Wyatt, Bryan versus Sheamus, Big Show versus Kane, and Reigns versus Ambrose. How they would have pulled that off with the fact that the Shield was still a thing is beyond me. But that was then. They had everything planned out then. Speaking of this time, they don't. As we are 91 days away from WrestleMania 36, and it looks like WWE hasn't locked down in too many matches for the biggest show of the year. It was noted by WrestleVerse that WWE that a source who has been with the company for more than 10 years said they can't remember a January where so little of the WrestleMania card has been decided upon. The feeling is that this is refreshing, as WWE is keeping multiple options open for the card, but also frustrating at the same time. There have been some rumors for 36 matches, but nothing really confirmed. Reigns versus Universal Champion The Fiend is rumored to be the top match for SmackDown. There's no word yet on who WWE Champion Brock Lesnar will face, but it has been noted that is nothing at all to the rumors of Lesnar versus Tyson Fury or Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez. It's also been rumored that NXT brand will be a strong presence at WrestleMania this year, in addition to TakeOver Tampa event that takes place that week. 10 male superstars and 10 female superstars for NXT are rumored to be at Royal Rumble matches later this month, and that involvement could lead to something at WrestleMania, which it should not. They had TakeOver the night before. It should not have a match for WrestleMania. Leave WrestleMania to those on WWE, which, if you look at that and you put an NXT star at WrestleMania, what's that going to tell? What's that going to tell the WWE stars in the back who have been working their butts off since WrestleMania last year to get on the card? They took a spot from us to give it to NXT. I was in NXT. We never got an opportunity to be on WrestleMania. So why do these guys get to be on WrestleMania? Unless it's going to be somebody in the Battle Royal, which has been in the WrestleMania. Somebody from NXT has been a part of the Battle Royal since Baron Corbin has won it. Oh no, I'm sorry. Since Hideo Itami, I believe the year before Baron Corbin won it. We should have a better idea of WrestleMania plans and matches after the 2020 Rumble later this month on January 26th in Houston in the Minute Maid Park. Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch will defend her title against Asuka. And Charlotte Flair is the first name confirmed for the Women's Royal Rumble, while Roman is the first one for the men's. And The Fiend will defend his title against Daniel Bryan. WrestleMania will take place on April 5th from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. We'll give you an update to the card as we go. Basically, here's how this is going to go. Daniel Bryan is not winning at the Royal Rumble. Fiend is going to be facing Roman Reigns is going to be taking a spear 1, 2, 3 at the pay-per-view. WWE is getting ready to put the coal back into the Roman Reigns train, the Roman Reigns push train. And that is where we're going. Roman Reigns will be your Universal Champion coming out of WrestleMania with one hard-fought spear. 1, 2, 3. In the booze, for Roman will return as they always do. Other than that, I don't really know what else you could see for WrestleMania. AJ versus Randy's not going to happen. I think they're going to do that at the Rumble and that's it. I like Rusev, Lana, Lashley shit. I don't care about. I really don't. I don't talk about it on my reviews because it's not worth it. I mean, the wedding was something else that just proves that Vince McMahon needs to go. But when it comes to WrestleMania, I don't know. It's obviously a given that we're going to have Roman Reigns versus The Fiend. It's obvious. There's just no way they're going to go and not have that. But the rest of it, I don't know. It'll become a lot more clear as we get closer to. Honestly, I think the only other match that I can think of is Bayley versus Sasha Banks to bet to be at WrestleMania. You're keeping these two together right now because there's nothing else you can do. But they better be pushing this towards WrestleMania. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Moving on to the year-end awards for NXT. These are as follows. The Female Competitor of the Year came down to Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, Kaylee Ray, Toni Storm, Bianca Belair, and Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler was your winner. I have no argument on that one. Male Competitor of the Year. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Velveteen Dream, Walter, Tyler Bate, and Adam Cole. I have no problem with Adam Cole winning this one. Overall Competitor of the Year, Io Shirai, Shayna Baszler, Toni Storm, Bianca Belair, Kaylee Ray, Rhea Ripley, Tommaso Ciampa, Velveteen Dream, Walter, Tyler Bate, and the winner, Adam Cole. Not a problem. Tag Team of the Year, the Street Profits, Viking Raiders, Grizzled Young Vets, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, or the Undisputed Era. This goes to the Undisputed Era. Not a problem. Rivalry of the Year, Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler, British Strong Style versus Imperium, the Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong, or Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Honestly, with those there, I guess Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano would have to be the winner. I mean, British Strong Style versus Imperium NXT UK honestly really didn't have a chance to win any of these because, quite honestly, not too many people who are voting for these things know what the hell NXT UK is. So Gargano versus Ciampa is fine. Ripley versus Shayna Baszler didn't have a long enough program for me to be able to say that it would be Rivalry of the Year. It ended up with Moment of the Year for me on NXT television with the way where Ripley won it. So, not a surprise. Breakout Star of the Year, Dijakovic, Matt Riddle, Candice LeRae, Damian Priest, Angel Garza, Rhea Ripley, Joe Coffey, Piper Niven, and Keith Lee. Keith Lee was your winner. I have no problem with this one too. If Keith Lee, Dijakovic, Matt Riddle, or Candice LeRae would have won this, I wouldn't have been mad about it. I wouldn't have been mad if anyone else winning it, but those four right there stood out the most for me. Future Star of the Year, Kushida, Cameron Grimes, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tegan Knox, Xia Li, Tainara Conte, Bronson Reed, Ilya Dragunov, and Dakota Kai was your winner. Now, this one, I could have given this one to Tegan Knox. I would have given this one to Isaiah Swerve Scott, Kushida, Cameron Grimes maybe, but Dakota Kai, that's an interesting one. That is definitely an interesting one. I guess we can give that one to Dakota Kai, not a problem there. Takeover of the Year, Phoenix, Blackpool, New York, Toronto, Cardiff, War Games 2019, and 25 was your winner. I do not agree with this one. 25 was not the best takeover this year. Oh, actually, no. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. Time out. Actually, I agree with this one. I absolutely agree with this one. Everyone has been saying that Takeover New York was the Takeover of the Year. 25 was the best. Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole from Takeover 25 was better than Takeover New York and Takeover Toronto. The Fatal 4-Way ladder match in that show was absolutely fantastic. The Women's Championship match, I think, was the low point. The fucking North American Championship match was awesome. I believe this is also where Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong happened. This was, top to bottom, the best Takeover of the year. Plain and simple. Match of the Year, I totally disagree with. You have the Women's War Game match, Walter versus Tyler Bate, Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler, Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai, winners, Viking Raiders versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong from TakeOver Phoenix, Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano, 2 out of 3 falls, 3 stages of hell match, the Forgotten Sons versus the Street Profits, and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Undisputed Era for the vacant tag team titles ladder match. That Fatal 4-Way with the Undisputed Era, the Street Profits, Forgotten Sons, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan. Awesome fucking match. Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole, NXT title match, Survivor Series. Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic, Bianca Belair versus Candice LeRae. Grizzle Young Vets versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster versus Gallus for the tag team titles. From Cardiff, Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano, 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant title from TakeOver New York. Which was your winner? I'm sorry, I don't buy that. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing was match of the year but Tyler Bate versus Walter. My match of the year, go watch episode 100 of the podcast, as that was where I did my year-end awards. This match, Tyler Bate versus Walter, and the only reason that this did not win match of the year is because, again, who watches TakeOver? Who watches NXT UK? Almost nobody. So the fact that this match didn't get the votes that it should have got. Anybody, if you're a wrestling fan, you need to see Tyler Bate versus Walter. This match had story. This match had drama. This match had David versus Goliath. This match had everything. This match went 40-some minutes, 42 minutes, whatever it was. And honestly, I just watched Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi, which went about the same amount of time as Walter and Tyler Bate. And Walter and Tyler Bate was a better match. That was last year. This year was that just happened. So Tyler Bate and Walter is like, that was not just match of the year. That was one of the top matches of the decade. Tyler Bate versus Walter should have been match of the year. Let's see here. They also had the 3 top matches of the year on that special with Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano, 2 out of 3 falls match for the vacant NXT title. War Games match between TakeOver, the Women's War Games match, and the Forgotten Sons versus the Street Profits versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Undisputed Era. That was your 3 matches from that to be able to fill out the time. Now, like I said, TakeOver of the year was 25 because it did have that awesome match. I don't give a shit what anyone says. The match between Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano for the vacant title, everyone does it. This doesn't make sense to me how everyone says this is match of the year. It makes no sense. Everyone's like, oh, that third fall is everything. You have to discount the first two falls. That's bullshit. The first two falls bring that match down. I want a 2 out of 3 falls match. I want every fucking fall to matter. Fall 1 and fall 2 in that match did not fucking matter. It was just to get out of the way so we can get to that third and final fall and have what everything should have been. Had it just been that fall and just been that part of the match, yes, match of the year candidate right there. But you take those two falls into account, which you have to because it's a 2 out of 3 falls match. This match was not match of the year. Walter versus Tyler Bate, match of the year. Tell me I'm wrong. Because if you do, you're fucking wrong. That was match of the year, and you can't change my mind. Couple gets engaged on New Year's Eve. Congratulations to Andrade and Charlotte on becoming the newest engaged couple. We do know that, I believe, the only other ones that we know of that are engaged are Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. By the way, congratulations to Mr. One Luke Gallows for getting married on the 22nd of December. It was news that popped up this past week. Didn't know he was engaged or ready to get married or anything. He got remarried or married or whatever. I thought he was married to a woman named Amber Gallows. I don't know what happened there. But he got married this past week or the week before. So congratulations to him. This is the last thing we got here. Vince McMahon and WWE being sued over the XFL. It was reported that Bloomberg Law a few days ago that an Oklahoma firefighters pension fund filed a lawsuit on December 26th in Delaware Chancery Court against the WWE. The group claims there is a credible basis to believe Vince McMahon and other WWE senior officials are not keeping up with their WWE duties as they focus their resources towards the XFL, which is being run under Vince McMahon's Alpha Entertainment. First off, listen, you Oklahoma pension fund. Vince McMahon is the chairman of WWE. He's also the head of the XFL. He, just like anybody else who has multiple businesses, is going to have to stretch his mind and his self to do both of those things. Yes, he might not be able to keep up all of his WWE duties because he has to do multiple things. When the XFL starts, he won't be doing as much to... Right now, he's doing meetings and stuff to get the XFL up and running. When the XFL is up and running, he won't have to be lacking on his duties. That's why there's other people in the WWE to make up for that. In an investigation by Forbes via WrestleNomics Radio posting the full complaint, the plaintiff is the Oklahoma firefighters pension and retirement system. They own 107 shares of WWE stock in his portfolio. The suits list the following complaints. Did Alpha Entertainment, the XFL parent company, which is wholly owned by Vince McMahon, pay fair market value for WWE for the intellectual property of the original XFL, which including giving WWE a percentage of the company? Is Alpha paying WWE fair market value for the sports services that WWE is providing as part of the deal? Was the XFL revival announced before the deal was complete? In general, did Vince and WWE, including WWE's lawyers, act in a way that was not in WWE's best interest? The lawsuit going into further detail that there hasn't been enough oversight by WWE, by Vince McMahon by company board members as he engages in transactions that are in conflict with WWE's interests. And once a look at WWE's internal records, which Vince McMahon has previously said he plans on continuing his role as chairman and CEO for the foreseeable future. It was also reported by ESPN back in 2018 that Vince McMahon has informed the insiders that he would spend close to $500 million in the first 3 years of the XFL's existence. He sold WWE shares $100 million in 2017 and $207 million in 2019 to help fund the Alpha Entertainment. Additionally, there is a complaint regarding the AAF pension role with the XFL. It was reporting a while back that the AAF approached the XFL about a merger in December 2018 that Vince McMahon rejected. It is also reported that Vince was going to sell the XFL before reviving it. Robert Vinich sued the AAF and Charlie Ebersol, claiming he came up with the AAF. As a result, he was entitled to 50% ownership. The lawsuit finally revealed that the original plan was for the AAF to bring back the XFL name for their new football league. Ebersol has since denied any details of these deals and the calculations set forth. He said, "My father and I do not offer Vince McMahon $50 million or any other amount to buy money to acquire the XFL trademark at our meeting on May 18, 2017, or any other time." And of course, the relaunch of the XFL is to start on February 2020, the weekend after the Super Bowl. Hey, if you have 107 stock or whatever it is in a company, you have a lot of stock in a company, you want to make sure that they're doing their due diligence and they're doing everything they can to make that company better. Here's a good idea. If you're ahead of the board or you have somebody ahead of that, go talk to the board and have them vote Vince McMahon out because Vince McMahon is not doing his job. The XFL is getting sued, WWE is getting sued, not a surprise. Hey, like I said, just ask Tony Khan, the guy who does stuff for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He does stuff for, I think it's Fulham or whatever. He does a football club over in the UK. He does AEW. He has himself on a swivel going back and forth, doing so many different companies at so many different times. Vince McMahon goes to do one company at one time, like wants to do another company. He's going to have to go out there and put his head on a swivel and figure out what he's going to do. He can't just sit there and be, well, here's the XFL, I'm going to let other people run it. He has to make sure that this comes up and is successful. So the people at the Oklahoma's pension, the only thing they need to wonder is that, hey, Vince McMahon said that the WWE is not going to be involved with this show, this company now. All the people in the Oklahoma pension fund needs to do, and by the way, why the fuck is an Oklahoma pension fund even worrying about investing in WWE? Do they know what WWE is? Do they know what wrestling is? Are there any wrestling fans on this pension fund? If not, then what the fuck are you doing? But anyway, if they want to make sure that everything is good, all they really need to know is WWE involved? Is WWE being used as a resource for the XFL, or is Vince McMahon keeping his word and keeping these two things separate? That is something that is the only thing they really need to worry about. Everything else, really, it's going to happen. Vince McMahon, like, there's no possible way that Vince McMahon is going to be able to keep up all of his WWE duties and get the XFL up and running. After the XFL is up and running, he's not going to have to do as much, because that's what Oliver and his crew is for. Vince McMahon can be the only... Vince McMahon, really, all he has to do after the XFL's up and running is take a phone call here, take a phone call there, write checks out, make sure that money that he's getting out or signing for the XFL is going towards stuff that the XFL needs and not going somewhere else. But he's always going to be doing something. That is your unscripted for episode 101 for your January 5th, 2020. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club, find me on twitch.tv/The France Club, and I'll see you guys later or Tuesday for Monday Night Raw. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.